Hey, welcome back to Now We Drive. Great to see you again, and thanks for coming back to the channel. So we've got three cars we're going to give you updates on today. We're going to take a look around the Audi, which finally turned up last week. We're going to take a look at the new Japanese sporty car. I say sporty in the broadest possible sense car that I bought purely on a whim based on an email from one of you guys actually. He was saying, oh, why don't you have a look at this car? And we'll show you that. And also an update on the Mini John Cooper Works that we've got. In fact, let me update you now on that one. So we've finally got the key reprogrammed. Whether someone's done this on purpose or whether it was a pure mistake by Copart, we had a key that was registered to another VIN number, so we reprogrammed the key. Went to start it up, and it now is asking for the lock. The steering lock has been broken. Now, it's electronically built as a security precaution that if it's broken, it won't start up. So we now have to put a new steering lock on it to finally figure out if the engine's okay or not, which after 6 or 7 weeks now I've had the car, it's getting very, very frustrating, but we've got to make sure that the engine is okay and everything is in the right order for us to begin the work. And I've gone on about this enough, but I thought I would just explain where we're up to with that John Cooper Works. So we'll take a really good look at the Audi and the damage and the progress we've made in as far as finding the parts for the car in the next segment of this episode. But I want to take a look at the new car to the channel, which I'm really excited about because I've not had a Japanese sports car. I say sports loosely. We'll get on to why I say loosely. I've not had a Japanese sports car on the channel. And there's some things I want to do to it that I think will be quite fun and make the car quite sellable. And the car is a 2011 Mark 3.5 and Mazda MX5. Now, and this purely came about from an email from one of you guys saying, oh, why don't you look at Mazda MX5s? And I started to do a bit of digging around, and the one that came up at Copart, which we'll have a look at the auction, it went pretty straightforward actually, to be honest. I got it pretty cheaply. It's in really good nick. And we'll look at the damage on there, and it's not going to be an expensive fix. But what I'd like to do with the car is I'd like to make it just a little bit sportier looking by dropping it down a bit, putting some coilovers on the car, and there's also some very inexpensive engine mods. I say inexpensive, quick and easy engine mods, such as a cold air intake, a new exhaust manifold, and a different exhaust system, and a small remap, which, given this is the 2 litre, will get us to a bit peppy, shall we say, a bit more peppy than it currently is, because the MX5s have never been known to be super sporty, but I want to get it so it's just a little bit more, got a little something more about it, especially after driving the John Cooper Works we did for a little while, which was unbelievably good fun. And it's the hardtop version. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's the hardtop version, not the soft top version. So let's dive straight in and have a look at the bidding. I think I've got the bidding saved, but also look at the Copart information that I had on the car prior to buying the vehicle. Did a little bit of homework. Car was probably worth somewhere in the region of, as a non-title car, 6.5. It was the 2 litre version. It was the hardtop. So these are the 2 things that were definitely a little bit more desirable, as well as having the nice cream leather interior. The only damage was that rear quarter panel and the bumper and the rear light. And what I really liked about this car, low mileage for 9 years old. The damage was pretty straightforward. Really honest little car. As I said, mileage was low. It didn't look like anything had been done to it or to jazz it up at all to get it through the sale, gone through to insurance and then sold out. And I was really quite excited about this car because I had a look at 79th Productions. If you ever have a look, check that guy out. He built a Mazda MX5 and he did quite a few bits to it, which it was only a Mark 1, but he did some really nice stuff to it, and one that's definitely worth looking at. So we dive straight into the auction. I speeded up the first few bids. It was pretty frantic up until about 2,000 then it was down to just me and one other fellow. Given I did a little bit of research, the parts on these things are very cheap. I bought the rear quarter panel subsequently after winning it. I bought it from Mazda direct for like 200 quid. The rear bumper was 90 quid and the light was about £100. So a little bit of labour on top. We'll have this back up and running really quickly and pretty inexpensively. And then we can start having a bit of fun, coilovers and engine mods, etc. But I was delighted that we got it for under 2.5, as you can see. Yeah, just a couple of us left bidding away. Fortunately, he wasn't as stubborn as I was with the price, and we won the lot. So I'm really excited about the Mazda MX5. It's coming from Wolverhampton. So look, I don't know how long it's going to be. The Audi took nearly 2 weeks to come. So I'm not in any major rush because I've got it parked up on my little driveway at the moment because I've moved house. I haven't got that massive driveway still. So I've got the Audi parked out, which we'll go and have a look at in a minute. But no doubt this will come at some point in the next 3 or 4 days. We'll take a much closer look at it in a subsequent episode. So at this point, let's dive straight outside and let's take a much closer look at the damage on the Audi and what we've already bought for the car. Showing you something you never ever get off a Copart. 2 keys. What the hell is going on? 2 keys. I'm actually trying. This must have spun around and hit a pole or something because the damage is very, should we say, condensed into one particular area. So if we have a good look, so here's the main crumple bar or crash bar that runs across. It's taken an almighty crunch just there. You can see that. Obviously you can, hopefully. Now, I will show you a little bit more structurally, but I was taking a really close look. Now, I've had the guy around who does the pulling, and he's telling me that all of this here should quite easily come out, because what he'll do, he'll basically put his dozer onto this bit here, pull all of this out, and then we're going to weld a whole new panel here which holds this, the boot latch, and that will be all that will fit all very nicely back into place. He said this is not a difficult one to put right. Now, looking at the body lines, obviously I've got a new bonnet on order, a new boot, sorry, on order. Now, the only 2 body lines I was worried about is this one here, which is where the convertible part, obviously hood falls down, compared to here. And the guy was telling me this is pretty standard, because if you can imagine, the impact here has pushed everything over this side, causing the wing just to move over a few mil. And he said as he starts to pull this out, this will become a lot less tension on this side, and this will pull much back into shape. There's 2 marks here, if you can see it, that just, can you see that? Yeah, you can there. 2 little marks there, because the panel's been pushed out a little bit, it's just creased it a little bit. But he said once it gets pulled in, they will repair themselves, but it'll also, he can knock them down quite easily. But the panel's got a little crease in it, but again, once the pressure's off this side, it will make all the difference, and that shouldn't be too difficult to put right, he was telling me. So as far as parts go, obviously new boot, we've got a new bumper, and we've got the crash bar, and the rest of some plastic bits as well. But a lot of these plastic bits actually come with the bumper when you buy it complete second hand. One thing that's a bit of a pain in the arse, which I've got to put right, but again, these are reusable. You see the 2 silver bars, they're the kind of anti-rollover bars that protect the driver's and passenger's head. They've deployed, but once you get the roof back down, which I can't do at the moment because I can't close the boot, as you can imagine, I can put those back down with there's 2 little red clips that they pop right down and go on behind the headrest. We've also got, obviously, we're going to need a new front bumper down there. There's no damage behind that. We might, the washer is going to come complete. The headlight washer is going to come complete with the new front bumper, but trying to find the right one's proving a bit difficult, but it'll come up. But yeah, I've got my eye on looking at a few out there at the moment. In general, she's an absolute beauty. She's in super condition, and with the mileage, it's not going to be too expensive to get her back on the road. So I'm delighted, to say the least. So that's about a wrap for this episode of Now We Drive. Thank you so much for joining me again here. And I do say it every time. Oh, by the way, make sure you like and subscribe. And also I've got my Instagram and Facebook pages for Now We Drive, which I'll put somewhere down here, I suppose. So please do join me there, and I'll put up updates as and when I can. Apologies for obviously lack of updates over the last 10 days. I had some sad personal things to deal with on the family side, which has kept me out of the loop for a little while. But we're back now, and updates will be regular, I can assure you. And obviously with the Mazda coming, there's going to be lots going on. Again, thank you so much. And please, you know what, like I said to you, and I say every time, comments. Please comment, feedback, emails to me. More than happy to help out where I can, to do auto auction searches for you, or whatever I can do to kind of help in the whole community feel while we're still in lockdown. So that'd be great to hear from you, in both good and bad. So I look forward to that. So thank you once again. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.